To bring us all up to speed for a little bit of inspiration.
I love the awkward silence every time you ask that.
I mean, I can try.
I can do it. I'm out of inspiration.
Okay, go for it.
There's also just not a lot of action last session. A lot of talking.
Sure was.
Began in the early hours. Well, not early hours. The late hours rather, as spoke to. Right? No, did we do the long rest at the end of the 2 sessions ago, or was that part of last session?
It's
I
part
think
of
it was the
last
beginning
Okay,
of
that's
last
what I
session.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote that in.
Talked to Ember's mom, told her what had happened, had some conversations trying to find out where Ember Prime's father is currently off on deployment. Not very successful, completely unsuccessful, actually, in that regard. The next day, we ran some errands around town, went to the church. Rainier checked in with the leadership there, passed off the information on the things that we had run into, took a look at the things that had been reported, while the others were just chilling, taking it easy, carousing a bit, making some money, trying to get some information. Picked up some potions, went by a jeweler's to pick up some diamonds, all before making our way to Weimar's Arms, where Ember Prime picked up some well, didn't pick up, but was okayed to use some iron later on, and Weimar didn't really have much in the way of knowledge of what was going on. Didn't even realize that that Ember Prime's dad had been reactivated out of retirement. All of which finally led us to town hall in an attempt to speak to the Sinku. Instead, speaking to a
Dipshit number 1.
I was trying to think of the name of the lemurs, the little like shit devils, but no, a dwarf by the name of Lycia Botin, high advisor to the Sinku of Maras, grade A asshole and general bigot. So there was some tense back and forth where he basically didn't want to hear a thing that we had to say, made it clear that stuff would get passed on to the Sinku. Including the threat of the cult in town, none of which he like really seemed to believe. But who knows? Maybe some of that will get passed on just as sort of a cover his ass moment. On the way out, we met. I have Azkire,
Azkir, yeah.
Azkir Boften, sister of the Sinku. She cool. That's what's in my notes. And she gave us the address of an apartment she uses in town while running errands to meet with her later for dinner to discuss getting in contact with the Sinku and just sort of discuss what's going on around town. We got our stuff. Ember Prime tried to contact the Sinku directly. That did not work. And that is pretty much where we left off.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Oh, and we picked up diamonds.
There are several diamonds.
Fanciest, most expensive 18,000 gold piece necklace now.
Also, health potion.
Well,
I tried, Cal. Sorry.
Appreciate you putting the work in.
Yeah, I respect the hustle. you gotta respect the hustle.
And yes, we also picked up healing potions.
Yeah.
From a very creepy, totally not a vampire.
He's not a vampire.
He's
relax.
not a vampire.
Totally not a vampire.
We cannot be clear about
Not
this.
a
I cannot
vampire.
stress that enough.
His name is, I don't know, what's a not a vampire name? Steve.
I believe his name is Allard Coombs. I believe that is correct.
Coumbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like either Alad or Adelaide Coombs.
You know, it rhymes with
Yeah,
Coombs.
Yeah.
Adelaide is
That just reminds me of one of my very, very favorite George Carlin bits
Yeah.
about the English language. C-O-M-B coom? No. C-O-M-B comb. T-O-M-B comb. T-O-M-B tome? No.
No.
T-O-M-B tomb.
Ooh.
It just goes on.
Yeah. Adelard Coombs. There's an S at the end of that. Cool, excellent. Yeah, take some inspiration. It is kind of late-ish afternoon on the 14th of Kythorn. You still have, the rest of the day until your evening meeting with Azkir Bofton. What is it that you all would like to do or accomplish between now and then?
Do we have contracts from the Slayer Stronghold?
You do not.
We do
Okay.
not, because I did forget that, because that was actually the first place we went, was the Slayer Stronghold, to turn in the ones we had completed, and there wasn't really anything to grab,
Yeah.
unless you want to do the Hydra or the
Nope.
Jurassic.
Sure don't.
I think we can take a Hydra, right?
I was thinking we could
I
take
feel
a
like we
Jurassic.
I got faith.
I think given that we had a mini game of running away from the Jurassic, I don't think we can take that one.
I think that was just bad timing.
That mini game was on us. We decided to run. He didn't tell us to run.
I
What
think
if he was only
Sean
chasing
Sean gave us a lot of die rolls that were, and this was prior to getting into the wagon. Hey, it's probably coming. You can detect it. And then with the check, it was like, hey, should we run or should we hide? And he said, run. So again, I think that one's
Fair.
still off the table for a bit longer.
Yeah, that was Gandalf saying, "He is beyond all of you." Run,
Fly, you fools.
fly, you fool. I mean, if nobody has anything to do, we just skip forward to the dinner. With the sister of the Sinku.
Firm is bringing snacks.
Well, if nobody has anything else to do, I'm going to go back to the forge. I got that iron sitting. Gonna get that done.
Oh. Yeah, Firm's gonna run back by the not a vampire and see how he is doing with his goo.
You just gave it to him. He's not doing anything with it.
It's sitting by the counter.
Yep.
He opened it, he sniffed it, maybe tasted it, closed it back up.
And he took a while in the back. That's what I remember. Because he said we have to come to an agreement because Firm wants that honey. The death honey.
Yeah. He told you to come back tomorrow. He'll figure it out.
Firm can wait.
Ember, what are you doing at the blacksmith at Plymouth?
As long as the materials, I'm not sure exactly how much material it would require, whether it would be based on monetary value or weight value. But my plan is to use my always prepared fabricate.
My always prepared fabricate. Hell yeah. Due to Weimar's guilty conscience about sending you into danger, when he thought he was sending you off to find yourself. He didn't realize, like, oh god, you were in Karakara. Oh god, you fought a dragon. Oh god, right? He has essentially cashed in his chips, right, to provide you with enough material for you wanted to make plate mail, right?
I sure did.
Yeah, so he's cashing in his chips on this to allow you to do that, which is a significant value. There is enough material to create this. If because you can make it from not just right, because like it needs like padding and strapping and that kind of stuff. Will it create? Can you create all those little objects with it, or you have to tinker a little bit?
I just need the raw materials. It does not have to be made. So if I have uncut leather and whatever I would need to make it into plate, then that is all I need. Because this can make a bridge from a clump of trees, a rope from a patch of hemp, clothes from flax or wool. Fabricate the correct size as long as you have a sufficient quantity of raw material.
Yeah, I would say they certainly have such. Cool. Tell me what it looks like as you use divine creation magic.
Ember Prime is this is one of the, I guess, the few spells she would actually cast through her crafting tools, through the mithril smith's tools, along with her holy symbol. Although this actually has no material component now that I look at it, other than whatever you're converting. So this is lots of prayers being chanted, I guess is the best way to say it, in a combination of Dwarvish and Primordial, as she is going through the motions of smithing, but like not firing the metal, not, there's no need for the heat. The large chunks of iron, which should not just flatten when you hit them with a hammer in response to prayers to the Stone Lord, just mold to her will. There will be at some point an etching process as the armor is being covered in the same sort of whirling fire pattern that is on the sign at the Fireforge Bakery that she created, and then the epaulets are being done up more not designed to duplicate Praetor style, but something along the same lines as the armor that she stared at for 50 years.
Yeah,
her father's Praetor armor.
Yeah, taking inspiration from it. Amazing. I would also like to imagine in this moment, like you've taken your previous chainmail off, and I like to imagine, if you would allow, these pieces after creation, like almost Iron Man-esque, coming towards and assembling upon you, just with the heft of using creation magic like this.
Yeah. I also imagine that rather than trying to sell off her old chainmail that she has worn for so long and through so much, most of that material is just going to be transferred into the plate mail.
You got it. You'll find plate mail in your inventory. You can unequip and equip as you see fit. Wymore is like, at one point he kind of like stumbles down into a chair, a little stool he keeps there for breaks, and is just jaw open, eyes wide, absolutely dumbfounded by what it is that you have done. Stammering a bit, he says to you, You are good at this.
Learn from the best. I did have to cut some corners, speed up time, because I got tricks now.
Wow. I mean, when I said that I didn't have anything left to teach you, I mean, I didn't think that you had something like this up your sleeve.
Well, there's still something to be said for doing it the way I was taught. If I had more time, I would have done that, but that would take months, and I don't even think we have hours. So I haven't forgotten, and I won't forget.
He gets up and like walks around you, observing the craftsmanship, kind of running his hand along bits of it, peering in a little bit closer. Ember, this is truly magnificent. I mean, this is a work of art that you've made.
I would like to take all the credit, but I did sort of get some help from the Stone Lord. So
Oh, I can see that. Incredible. Well, I fear if you were to open up shop here in town, you'd put a lot of people out of business.
yeah, probably not. There's that whole selling part of running a business that I was never really good at. There's a reason I didn't take over the bakery, you know.
Well, there is that, I suppose. Still, magnificent. So what does one do with such a fine set of steel?
Mostly, I think I try not to die again. I mean, try not to die for the first time. We looking to go to the place, right? The apartment? Yep. I'm going to figure out what's going on here. No. I take that back. We are going to figure out what's going on here, and we're going to put Maras back the way it belongs.
Well, I've seen a miracle today. I can't believe I actually believe what you're saying. Good luck, and try not to die again.
We good to go, everybody?
Mhm.
Cool. If there's nothing else, we'll speed up time by a few hours, and you are arriving at the given address of the apartment to Azkir Bofton. It's a she says apartment, but it's like a whole townhouse, right? There's a guard at the door who asks about your business, presenting the invitation. He nods, says you are expected, and allows you entrance in. It's not gaudy in here. It's nothing like you would expect from like. I mean, it's certainly nothing like a home of a council member in Bastion. Seemingly, as this is another property they own, it's relatively simple, but you can tell like there's money here. Entering in, you see that there's a few guards in some of the chambers down below, and they escort the group of you. One of them escorts the group of you up some stairs to the second level floor. They open the doors to a larger room that seems to be set for a meeting of sorts. On the table, you'll find a mixture of different foods, local cuisines. There's drinks of different types, and you see Azkir in there talking to one of her guard members. She gives them a nod and turns to look at you as the guards exit the room. closing the door behind them, and she opens her hands wide and welcomes you in. 5th season, you are welcome here in my home. Please, make yourselves comfortable. If you need to relieve yourselves of armor or weapons, there's space for it. Otherwise, you may keep them on you. I fear not. As you can see, we're well guarded here, and I doubt you would do something as silly as attack the sister of the Syndiku. Please, there's food, drink. Help yourselves.
Thank you for your hospitality.
How has your day in the city been? That interesting. Wow.
Unsettling, truthfully. Seeing what has become of Maras is... We have been through a lot. We have gone through a lot to try to help not just Bastion, not just Karakara, but all of Idari, and seeing home like this kind of makes me wonder what happened.
Well, that is a very good story. And I like stories. Now, we don't know each other very well, but I find in sharing our stories, it helps build the foundation of relationships and trust. And you will have many stories I would love to hear about. Your time in Karakara would be fascinating to know about. As well as I understand you all have fought a dragon. If you would indulge us, we can eat, drink. If you would share your stories with me, perhaps I can share one with you.
Firm is attentively paying attention to everybody's story. He was not there for none of it.
Or some Lord of Fire. That was the drag.
Saul, we'll need your professional embellishment if you don't mind. And Cal will just launch into insane histrionics and over exaggeration about everything and anything.
Oh yeah. I start it starts off with the viol very soft and slowly builds in epic with occasional staccato bursts when Cal exclaims.
Very cool. Very cool.
Can I add to this for thematics and use shape water to make little pictures behind it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to end the story with, and they all made fun of me for bringing a net, but in the end, it was important.
There's an inappropriately long part of the story that is about Cal and Flown.
And Flan.
Yeah, the music gets really soft and kind of confused at that from the tone shift.
There's a part where you check back in and you notice that there's no music been playing at all for a minute.
It's like it clunks for 20 seconds. Wait, what? Oh, now hold on. Okay.
Everyone's kind of awkwardly looking anywhere but at Azkir is she is wrapped with attention at your tales. As you're talking about Karakara, she asks more fine details. She seems well informed, but she explains to you there is a fine difference. There's a great difference between hearing a report about something and then getting firsthand information about it. After your stories are done, people are eating, drinking during this time. There's wines, ales, juices, milks. I mean, really, like anything you ask for is essentially served here for you. After your stories are done, she takes a long draught of her cup and kind of cooling her laughter a bit. And she says, "That is, you all have had some incredible adventures. This is the reputation I mean. When your reputation precedes you. Not just your effectiveness, but you have a desire to help and try to do good in the world. And many places now desperately need that. And Maras is one of them.
Did you have something in mind?
I do. But we'll come to that. She looks to you, Ember, and says, you wanted to know what happened here.
More or less, yep.
I don't know that I have the answers you're looking for, or if there really are any. My brother's been in power for a long time. My close family have ruled this city for several generations. My extended clan has ruled Maras in one way or another since its founding. Brothers, sisters, cousins, cousins of cousins. There was a time when my brother would share the burden of rule. I hold no official position or office, but running a city is a lot, even for one person, even for several people. I took on minor matters so that he would be free to put his attention elsewhere, and it worked wonderful for a long time, both for Maras and for us. But when news of Karakara happened, and then confirmation of events occurred, something changed. It was slow at first. There was security proclamations, which rightfully so. We needed to protect our citizens, protect our city. We had no idea what was happening. Nobody did. We began to clamp down more and more. I say we, he. I was given less and less to work on till eventually there was nothing. He began taking less meetings, spending more time in his office. He became not frightened. He was never afraid. Paranoid. Paranoid that something was coming for Maras, coming for him. More proclamations came, and soon we were shutting down trade. Slowly at first, until absolutely. That was to make sure that we had the supplies to make sure our industry continued, our citizens were taken care of. This all seemed fine. Slowly, things changed, but looking back, I didn't even notice it until There were guards everywhere. Paranoia swept the streets. Everyone was looking at their neighbor suspiciously. There were several attacks in the city. Not on the populace, but attempts made to the Sinku, myself. These were thwarted. Then that spurred even more lockdown, control. Trying to find who was behind all of it, but we were never able to make any real progress. Those that were responsible either were slain in the act or killed themselves, and when questioned in the afterlife, they refused to answer any question. Whoever they are dedicated to what they are doing. I would like to see my city restored. I like to see my brother the way he was. I'm not sure the exact path to this. But if you want audience with my brother, you'll need to do something very big. Something so grand, so large that he can't possibly ignore it.
Do you have something in mind?
I do. I may not have as much influence as I once did, but there's still those loyal to my family and loyal to me. Information comes my way. There's a situation to the north. One that threatens our city and, if not stopped, could threaten other cities. Ember, you gave warning of something deep in the mines.
Mhm.
What was it precisely you were afraid about?
I have seen what happened to our home in Kirathun. I have seen the beings that dwell deep, deep underground, and our mining encroached upon their world, encroached upon their home. And there was no warning, there was no diplomacy, no negotiation. There was simply unending war. It looked kind of like elves, but not quite.
Skin that's never seen the light of day, yet not white, but ashen and dark. Eyes as sharp as their blades.
Something like that, yeah. Have these been spotted to the north? Is that what's presenting the problem?
They've been spotted before the north. Our history runs deep. Deep into the mountain, into the rock, and there are many secrets buried there. The people of the morass do not know the dangers of the mountain. We don't wish them to worry. But there are things in the deep darkness where we must mine. She leans forward a bit, kind of temples her fingers together. Ember, did your parents ever tell you the secret of the Praetor armor?
Nope. I assume not.
Correct. Yeah, they did not ever talk about it. Good. I would expect nothing less from the Fireforge family. Your mother and father have been loyal servants to this city. Her eyes run across the group of you. I'm going to divulge some information that we keep highly guarded, highly secret. And the reason I'm doing this is to allow you context and to show you that I trust you. And that when I ask for your help, I'm doing so earnestly. The secret to the Praetor armor, what powers it, is the rarest mineral the mountain has ever given up. It has miraculous intrinsic properties. When fused and amplified with the right runes, many things are possible. But there's not much of it. We call this mineral manolin. Now, an interesting thing about you, Ember Prime, child of the mountain as you are, the day you were born was the day the last handful of manolin was pulled out of the mountain. Some took this omen to mean ill tidings. Those that knew. Others still saw you as a blessing of Moradin. I like to think of you as that way. Now, we had kept stockpiles of manolin, but as I said, it's very rare. And soon we were running low, and then we ran out. There hasn't been a Praetor in service in 20 years. But luckily, their reputation alone has kept difficult circumstances from coming our way. The fear of reprisal. Two weeks ago, we discovered the largest vein of manolin we've ever found. You see, we've been sending mining, experimental mine expeditions all along the coastline for the last several months. Our mine here in town is drying. For the last few decades, its yields are lower and lower and demand is higher and higher. Now, this ore that we require is only found in the deepest depths of the rock. We lost contact with one of our mining outposts. Several days later, a wounded rider collapsed at the gates of the city. Speaking of it sounds almost impossible to believe, but a living weapon, a monster roughly 1,000 feet long, several stories tall, the shape of a worm? Slug, maybe. Burst through the mountain and has been making its way towards our city. Luckily, the beast is fairly slow, but everything in front of its path is destroyed. Preliminary reports show that there are beings there. They look elven in nature, but are not the elves we are familiar with, and worser things still. There appears to be a creature leading them, torso of a dark elf, with the body of a spider. They ride towards Maras. And if not stopped, they will break this city. Then they will find Bastion and break it too.
Does the Sinku know this is coming?
She nods.
Then why does the Sinku not? Why does the Sinku turn away the representatives of Bastion? He has to know that there's an army in Bastion. We don't have one.
Well, to make the point even worse, part of Bastion's militia isn't in Bastion. It's on its way here. It could easily be diverted to handle this situation.
That's possible. And I wish I knew my brother's mind, but I don't.
And
My
not to warn the people of Maras, not to even try and evacuate, just to let them sit and wait.
He has sent what praetors we can access. There's not much manolin that was pulled out of the mountain before this occurred. I believe, in regards to Bastion and its militia and why he chooses the path he chooses, if I had to guess, the Bastion situation he sees as a separate matter. He is putting his trust in the praetors, though that is reputation alone. As for Bastion, I believe he sees them as an opportunity. It's no secret that Bastion has always wanted control of Adari, one way or another. If Bastion's military were to strike at Maras, then we would have free grounds to openly strike back. as long as the situation of the North is resolved, then Bastion's military would be facing off against Marasi praetors, and well, the militia is green. She looks at you, Rainier. You know as well as I do, a third of that army has never seen real battle. And none of them have faced a praetor. That would be my best guess. But I don't know. What I do know is that were you to stop the approach of this creature, this would be something my brother could never ignore. He'd be forced to meet with you and give you thanks for saving this city.
Is that where my dad is?
I honestly don't know.
Is it
And
the
again,
only place that the Praetors have been deployed?
no. There are other sensitive locations that we required security at. But again, and I mean this with all respect, if I did know where your father was, I wouldn't tell you.
So there's the worm, there's the spider. What else is with them?
Information is very limited. There have been approaches to the worm. Its outside surface is very difficult to damage. It appears the forces within use its mouth as an entry and exit point. We've
So
sent.
there is an army with those two.
There is something with them. Very few walk the surface of it. Most are within. Their numbers, their makeup, I don't know. But if that thing lives, then it's possible to either kill it or kill their leader.
How many praetors are you planning to devote to our pursuit of this mission?
There's been a dozen sent already. There have been 4 losses so far. That leaves 8. If you're willing to help, I'll give you the name, location, and fresh set of horses and where you'll find their last known outpost. From there, you'll have to formulate your own plan.
How long is this offer on the table?
Well, we have about, looks at world map. I'd say we have roughly 5 days before it makes it to the city. It's a 3-day journey to their last outpost.
So
virtually no
not
time
much
at all.
time.
Yeah.
Not much time. But if anything that I have heard about your group is true, you seem to work wonders under pressure.
It sounds like we might need a moment to discuss this. As much as any of us want to help Maras, there's a very real chance this would be a death sentence for any of us.
I understand. I know what I ask is not an easy thing. And it's possible our praetors will have great success. How much time do you think you need?
Half hour?
Uh, she stands up and says, well, you can have the room if you like, or you can take a walk in the city.
Look at everybody else.
There's still plenty of food.
Are you? Is that a statement or a question?
No, that was a statement as in like we could talk about it while we eat or we can discuss this while we eat still.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. She nods at you, Ragnarok, and says, well then, I will leave the room to you. All you have to do is just open the door and call, and we'll reconvene. She gives you all a nod and just opens the door and closes it behind her. You have the room to yourself. As she left, you can hear the footstep of like guards approaching and leaving.
Anyone against it?
I mean, I know there's a choice, but I don't see any real choice for us. We can't turn our backs on Maras.
Tend to agree. And it's
Should
not
be
as if we have the ability to make plans in an alternative or even how to handle the situation, frankly, until we're there.
From the sound of it, either way, we're gonna have to get swallowed by a giant worm and then maybe kill it from the inside. Since folks are coming and going from inside of it, maybe we can, I don't know, stab its heart. Worms have hearts, I think.
Worms normally don't have an army inside. I think the focus, if we focus on this spider thing that's controlling it, who knows where it goes
Is it
and takes
controlling
its,
it or leading them?
I think, both.
Won't know till we see it.
Do you think there's any value in sending message to Voice of Vashkin, letting them know what is headed this way? Perhaps having them send word to their militia to either help or get out of the way?
Do you think they'd be okay with us sharing that type of information?
not sure I care what they're okay with or not okay with. They're okay with letting this city get eaten by a giant worm.
Yeah, I'm with Cal on this.
I'm just saying, although I believe in the voice of Bastion, they may see it as an opportunity, or they may see us sharing it and assume that they're going to take it as an opportunity.
Yeah, but there's not much Moras can actually do about it. The Praetors are spread thin.
Well,
If
if
Bastion's militia comes into Moras and tries to claim it, one of two things will happen. We'll stop this worm and we'll come back. Or we won't stop it, and then the worm will just destroy Moras anyway.
worth mentioning that informing them that the Praetors are spread, if they do not know that themselves, is tantamount to.
I wasn't going to tell them about the Praetors. I was just going to tell
Well,
them about the worm.
I think they can maybe make an educated guess if we tell them a giant worm is bearing down on the city, that the Praetors may be splitting their focus.
Hmm.
The tactical move on the Voice's part would be to offer, I don't know, defensive occupation of the city and its defense, which
I think the best way to do it is to tell them, tell the militia the worm is coming. Let the militia then decide what their move is. Let them show not just Maras but the rest of Idari exactly who they are.
And to a point of context, should it be the case that this is information we divulge, it will be known if Thali Greybelt, any of the militia, makes moves either in defense of or towards Maras in this interim. The Senku will know, and she will know that we have been the ones who have told. If all were to miraculously go perfectly well, and we come back here, and we have audience with the Senku, and he were to know that in the midst of it we had revealed political secrets to Bastion, we may have lost that.
I don't think a giant rampaging worm really qualifies as a political secret. I want to tell them so that they can make the decision to either get the hell back to Bastion and get out of the way so that that militia doesn't get trashed along with this city, or they can help. That's not a call I can make for them, but all I can do for myself is not let that militia die for nothing. In the case that we don't stop this thing.
Which of those two options would you prefer? Coming to the defense or going back to Bastion?
I don't know. It's not up to me, so I'm not even putting that into it. That's their decision. That's not for me.
I mean, it largely depends on what you tell them and who you tell it to.
I'm assuming we can dispatch a messenger or something, because we're not going to go the wrong way. We have 5 days. Well, 4 by the time we would leave tomorrow. And it's going to take 3 days. We don't have a day to march east to meet up with the Bastion militia and then make it north to intercept this thing. I'm not familiar enough with anybody in the militia to contact them magically.
Well, I think the way you have summarized this, your position, it does beg another question, and that is simply, if I understand you correctly, Emperor Prime, You would like to inform the militia so that they can then make their own choice as to whether they want to assist in trying to stop the worm and the army contained within, or they can head back to Bastion to try and get out of the way and maybe fortify that city so that they don't lose their lives. The question it begs is, do we owe that choice to the citizens of Maras? Do we need to inform them so that they can make the same informed choice that or you are positing that we give to the militia of Bastion? And to Rainier's point, if we do that, are we then not undermining any chance we have at actually meeting with the Sinku?
I think the difference for me is that warning a militia unit is one thing. Evacuating an entire town, I mean, they'll have a chance, but one, I don't know if you've learned from traveling with me, but we can be a little stubborn, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
What? How dare you?
Zal does the like little bit with his fingers. My only, I suppose, firm advice would be to not tell the voice. He is a lord. He is a political creature. Regardless of his good intentions, you are giving him information. It behooves
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm confused. When did we? The voice is back in Bastion. I'm not.
right, but if you can send magically,
Oh yeah, but I wasn't ever gonna tell the voice. The voice isn't.
it was brought up earlier in the conversation. If you'll
Well,
pass,
I mentioned it because I thought that would be the most efficient way of
Oh,
getting word to the militia.
it likely would be. It's part of my thinking, but undoubtedly he or the council will have some way of contacting the militia quickly.
Yes, and I guess the way I look at it is, if we are successful in informing the militia, the Council of Bastion will know whatever information we pass on to the militia. So saying you don't want to inform the voice or any other council members, but you do want to inform the militia, it's one and the same in my mind.
True.
We also don't have to make this decision ourselves. We can always just ask Akira when she comes back.
true.
Or hold the option in reserve until we understand whether or not we're even going to be able to do this.
I think if we do decide to do it, the more time we give them, the better.
We were not sent. We were asked by the voice to find out why Maras has stopped trading, and we've kind of found that out. And part of that answer is that Maras has a couple conflicts brewing. We may be able to use that to buy time if we have to, but buy time with the militia. I mean, get them to pull back. But I'm honestly not really worried about the militia anymore, given the whole giant rampaging worm issue.
Yeah. Don't.
To be clear, I'm more worried about Maras than I am about that militia.
I'm worried about Maras because of that militia.
Indeed.
I mean,
We
I was
think
until the whole city destroying worm issue was raised. What's the militia gonna do? Take the city and then get crushed by the worm?
or we save the day and then we come back to a city under siege.
Precisely.
I mean, we have to operate as if we're going to win. I suppose.
If I mean, the
Or
point,
not.
if that happens, then with that threat to Maras dealt with, the full weight of the Praetors can come to the defense of Maras.
But
It's-
that's sort of the reason we're here, aren't we? To prevent that from happening at all. We're trying to save as many people as possible. I think we might be best served if we begin heading up north, and perhaps once again we have a better assessment of what it is that we could possibly do against
I mean,
this threat to Maras. At that
North is
point,
a given to me.
we maybe make a decision about whether or not we give Bastion any more information. I don't want any of those. I don't want any of those soldiers to come to harm's way either. But if we die, everyone's still in the path of the worm.
North for me is a given. I've got to stop that thing from reaching my city.
And after we're done here, it's probably worth contacting your father again to see if he's up there.
Yeah, I get the feeling we'll
Mentioning-
find out soon enough.
I mean, the sooner we know what we're walking into, the better. If he has information for us, then
Yeah, the nature of my magic doesn't really. It's very short conversations, so I'm not going to get a full status briefing. Is all I mean. I can try to contact him,
at a
but
minimum,
if
maybe
he's up
see if any
there,
of them have died since they last reported in.
if
That
he's
is
up there, we'll
assuming
find
it's
out.
True. So, do we tell the voice or the militia, or do we leave it as is?
I don't think we should say anything yet.
I
We don't know
personally,
enough.
I don't think it's our decision to make.
Whose decision do you think it is?
People of Moss, or at least the people representing them.
Possibly, but I think it is our decision in this moment to make.
I
Even
mean,
if our decision is to not tell anyone, that is still our decision to make.
and I just want to point out that there's not people representing Maras. There's a person representing Maras. That's the
Right.
Senku, and he's chosen not to tell anyone about anything.
And
you-
I think that's his decision to make. I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I'm not on his side here, but I don't represent Moss. I don't feel I'm in a position to speak for them. And what I'm saying about our decision is, I think our decision should be to bring it up to the appropriate person to make that decision. And I know we don't have access to the Senku yet, but we do have access to his system.
Fair. I suspect she will not want us to divulge that information, but it is worth asking in the spirit of full disclosure.
Mhm.
Knowing that if we ask, we have tattled on ourselves if we then decide to do it anyway. Do we put it to a vote then? To start simply silence or telling?
Can you define what you mean by telling?
I would say
Well,
telling who what.
Telling let's say the militia.
Can we add a third option of asking Akira?
I mean,
Asking
she's made
Akira
it.
will
She's made it pretty apparent that this information is here, and he circles the room with a finger.
if we decide to stay silent anyway, We can revisit the vote, I suppose, but
I don't think we have enough information to make any decisions until we have more to pass.
What more do
Fair.
we need? You want to know what
Again,
color shoes the spider person's wearing? Is that the important information? There's a giant fucking worm headed for the city that's going to destroy it.
yes, and if we give Bastion Militia 3 days, and if bad faith is taken, then that is 3 days that we are not here, and that it becomes known to both the Senku and Praetors that
No, I understand your position, but that's not saying, oh, we need more information. That's saying you don't want to do it because you don't trust Bastion's militia, which is fine.
which
But let's
is
not
valid.
pretend we're waiting for some magical information to arrive that will clarify whether or not they're going to do that.
well, my point being that we have, on many occasions, had limited information about what we are going to be facing, and our decision about what we should do about it and how we should defend the people we intend to has only come when we've made eyes with whatever it is that we've actually come to resolve in the first place. Like she said, we work well under pressure.
I mean, if we've come to make eyes with what we're chasing, then Emma's gonna need all her spells. And so either we tell them before we meet that thing, or we tell them after, in which case we succeeded, or we die and they never hear about it until it's too late.
Very well, let's head north. No reason to vote. I'm the only one advocating for another position. So we have our play.
I suppose so, yeah. Really need to institute some kind of anonymous voting system here.
Why?
Like slips in a hat.
Why? We came to a decision.
Fair, but in case anybody thinks somehow differently, but doesn't want to say.
Do you call for Azkir?
I don't see why not. We seem to be done talking.
Okay. The doors open. The guards close them behind her. She walks around to the table and just stands with a hand on the table, or like fingertips just pressed onto the table, and just kind of looks, her eyes wide a little bit, expectantly. Well, have you come to a decision?
We'll head north.
You can see like the tenseness in her body kind of releases a bit.
May we have every report you've received on the matter?
Yes, I can provide that to information to you. Though again, it is limited.
Every scrap is more than we have.
Now, as I said, I don't hold office in the city, but my family has wealth. I can provide all of you with fresh horses, food, drink for your travel, any equipment that you think you may need.
What is our stipend?
Not extravagant. She looks at your personage. You are probably wearing more than is required for what I'm asking.
What is it exactly you're asking us to do?
Yeah, what?
Her brow kind of crinkles a bit and says, I'm sorry, I thought it was obvious. Stop the worm, stop the spider creature,
Yeah,
prevent
okay.
Maras's destruction.
That's what I thought, which is why I was not entirely sure why you said that's more than he'd need.
I mean,
What I mean
diamonds
is,
would be a
you were
nice
all
start.
wearing extremely potent weapons of destruction.
I'm not. I got a
Technically
stick.
not either.
Regardless
Oh,
of
you
what
get
we're
one.
wearing, if you have the pull that you say your family has, the Sinku is keeping this quiet. I would guess if we could ask why, it would be to prevent a panic.
Very
That's dumb.
likely.
That's dumb. That's just dumb. There's a giant fucking worm coming to destroy our second home, led by the people who apparently destroyed our first home. Now, we don't and have never had much of a standing army here in Maras, but you know what we do have? Lots of very strong people who are real good at swinging hammers, picks, and all kinds of shit. Who spend their day breaking rock and stone and searching for precious things to build the home we have here. Those people will want to fight. They're not going to want to just sit here. And whether it will do anything, whether they can win, they at least deserve that chance should we fail.
Should you fail, or our praetors fail, or both, and the worm arrives on the horizon, then the city of Maras will stand for as long as it can. But until that time, I would like to prevent a panic.
We're dwarves. We don't panic.
Hardy people though we may be. I disagree with many of the decisions of my brother, but he is Sinku. I will respect that for as long as I am able.
Let us
Okay.
talk resources for a moment here. Potions and diamonds.
Heck.
There are many stores among our
Sure.
city which you can find these things.
Faith is cheap. Resources are something else. You put your faith in us to get this task done. Do you put your resources into it as well?
As I said, I can provide to you horses, food and drink for your journey. If there's other equipment you require, I can provide such. But if you're asking, will I give you thousands of gold worth of diamonds and magical items, the answer is no.
I imagine a lot of that's outside of your power anyway.
I
She
wasn't gonna say
nods.
ask
She
for
nods
magical item.
as a, you know, kind of like a, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, look at yourselves. You are covered and adorned in items of power. you would stand to challenge any praetor as you are. This is why I have faith in you.
Hmm.
We'll set out in the morning.
If I can ask, when was the last time you spoke to your brother directly?
Face to face, weeks. He doesn't allow anyone into his chambers. His meals are left at the door. You speak to him through the door.
So
And
you
he's
haven't seen him?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. We on, I mean, Fern like looks to the group. The town that we ran into on the way here, their mayor, sheriff guy, he
Both.
ran into an individual, and then he basically he turned into something sort of dark, and they didn't know what happened to him either. What if this might be happening with the Senku, and whoever did that to that little city got a hold of this city? And that's why he started shutting himself away and shutting off connections to the outside.
I mean, there's no way to answer your question, though my brother, the Sinku, is in the Sinku's palace, which is the most highly guarded building in the entire city.
We're okay. We're all just okay. That's just
I
being
mean,
taken on faith. Got it.
right.
Just gonna
I'm
set that aside for post giant worm issue.
I've known about Cyphers as they are for what, 3 weeks maybe now.
Yup.
It feels like it might only be like a week and a half. I can think of like 3 Cyphers that I've seen personally with my eyes that would allow you to get to a.
If I'm not saying it happened, but what I'm sort of speculating at here is if the person or the individual that we sort of learned about actually got a hold of your brother, I doubt any of you guys would have ever known.
Yeah, it's worth noting we did follow a cult here.
I was about to say that or the death cult, right?
Yep.
They definitely had a way of manipulating even the powerful people of Bastion. So, but
All
like
the
I said, that is definitely a post worm problem.
I agree. As unsettling as that idea is, there is very little that can be done about it currently, though I will keep it in mind and have nightmares about it now.
yeah.
Maybe push for a meet and greet.
Or just force your way in there as his sister.
Not as easily done as you think. But yes, I will see what I can do about finding if my brother is compromised in some way.
Oh, we all saw. This is more like a above table question. We saw what the token looked like, correct? From the sheriff guy that we found in his pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Firm's gonna make like a using shape water. He'll make like a little sort of illustration for her to be like, if you do happen to meet with him, look for something that may resemble this.
You actually can use prestidigitation to create a small token in your palm.
Oh, yes. Okay, I will do that instead.
She looks at it and says, I don't know what that is.
We don't necessarily either, but that's what the guy that we ran across had when he got corrupted.
Actually, we fairly do. It's a possessive rot of the undead.
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what that means either, but I've never seen that symbol in my brother's office, on his personage, or on anyone in the palace. So
No, but if you haven't seen him in a couple of weeks, that could have been the cause of it.
I
Or
suppose,
the
but
death
didn't you?
cult.
I suppose. Now, I'm going to assume you have mentioned further detail to give context to what it is that you're talking about here. Um, forgive me, but didn't you mention that this person was worms and not of themselves?
We do have, as it happens, a couple of instances of demon worship in our path to Maras. A cult obsessed with the destruction of Adari and its peoples on it. In addition to that, Orcus and Yanogu worshippers in the area that we have dispatched of, but they got their materials from somewhere.
There's always fucking crazy people. My brother speaks, so I don't think he's made of worms, nor is he dead.
He may be being controlled, though. Firm just keeps throwing out doubtful sentences.
Well, there's nothing much I can do about that if that was the case, is there?
Post spider problems firm. Post spider problems firm.
Perhaps if you gain audience with him, you yourselves, as apparent experts in this field, can make that determination.
If we
I
don't succeed, just something to consider.
right?
Oh no, I'm considering it. I'm definitely considering it.
Honestly, my bet was Bowden was just doing some kind of magic on him, but
Oh
that
yeah,
might be my
too.
predisposition towards thinking he's a shit.
Were he so skilled?
How do you feel about? Well, never mind. I'm working on turning him into a sort of a synonym for fuck up.
She kind of stifles a laugh. Uh, um,
I'll keep you updated.
sure. Sure.
Okay.
She nods and says, well, let me gather a few things, write a few notes, and I wish you good luck. She gathers together what information she's been given about the slug, the worm. She writes a few notes with her family seal on it for for a stable to provide these people with the fastest horses you have. Um, spare no expense on their equipment for it. Bill everything to me. She hands all of this to you all. I cannot thank you enough for taking on this mission. I know it is dangerous. I know you are putting your lives on the line. And that is something that I will never be able to fully repay you for. I wish you good luck and good hunting.
Well,
In addition to the paperwork, uh, she places a small leather coin purse, which once you leave and check, you'll find 300 gold inside of it.
nice. Penny for your thoughts.
Can I, while we're sitting here, like rifle through the notes?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from a history perspective, but I doubt there's going to be much to that because this is
Yeah.
clearly something older.
Yeah. I mean, this is not the notes here. There's nothing historical here. This is like field reports. It reads like Rainier's reports, right?
Yeah, but that's still descriptions of better descriptions of the things that they see.
Yeah.
like the worm, and what does it look like, right? We
Right.
just know it's a worm.
Yeah. You see it's described both sometimes it's called worm, um, more and more as the reports become, like a little more recent or the information is more recent. The word worm is used less and slug is used more. Um, yeah. Even parts of it are being termed war slug at times. Um, the description of it is and you see like a bad sketch of a slug, right? And it says not to scale on
They're
it.
not, but they're not riding the outside of it, right? When
How do
they
you mean?
see like the enemies that they know are going in and out of it. From a distance,
You
they don't see people walking around on top of the thing as it's moving.
they see people walking on top of it while it is moving.
Okay.
Ooh.
There is again the description is roughly 900 feet in length estimated 3 to 4 stories tall in places, large bulbs at various locations, looks to hover on ground that can't be right. Large forces enter in and out of mouth cavity without risk of consumption. Though when enemy, though when, though when not present, the mouth does scoop material in front of it. You see a report that says, one predator sent his scout attempt to make contact with Slug. Reports back, outside surface, difficult to injure, though not impossible. Potential entry points from outside to gain interior access. Beyond this, the only entryway or exit appears to be the mouth. There have been cited, they're just labeling them dark elves. There have been cited dark elves, spider folk, assortment of goblin-esque people,
Ooh.
bugbears, other strange denizens. The war slug seems to make a clicking noise. There's a report
Just
of
generally, it just clicks.
yeah. The way they describe it as like uh, those that made it close reported that there is like a repetitive clicking noise coming from within, but muted from the outside.
So like a throat noise, not like metal plating or something.
Yes, yeah, like an organic kind of throat noise. Yes. There's a description of when they sent people in that one of them had made it like they were in there for a few hours, and then one of them made it out of the mouth badly injured, pieces of armor missing, before forces came out and finished them and dragged them back in to the slug.
What's the largest amount of forces they've seen fielded at one time? Like in that case, right? How many came out?
In that particular case, there was roughly a dozen. That included like a few bugbears, a few spider folk. There's also mention of they mention like a large spider person, like dark elf torso, spider body, but that there are others like them, but there is one that is larger than the rest.
Is it their professional opinion that this is like a war band or an army living in there?
The information is not enough to make that determination. They're uncertain of the number inside. Whether there is a full army. It's like a nest of bees, right? You can't exactly know how many are in the nest, but you
Yeah,
know
they
there's
could
more
only-
than a few.
They could only guess on how many they saw at one time in the
Yeah.
open, in this
Yeah.
like in their field of view.
Yeah. There's no report of seeing hundreds.
Yeah. But I mean, they did see for sure a dozen who came out to in
Yeah.
response to being attacked.
Yeah, yeah. The general consensus is just numbers unknown, type of enemy, wide variety.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll be relaying all of that as I rifle through. Anybody have any dreams about a giant worm?
No, not exactly.
Only once. I fell into a giant bottle of tequila.
Ooh,
Hmm.
that sounds
Not helping? Not helping, sorry.
I mean, it's not helping. Not helping. Well, this is somewhat useful, I suppose. We might be fighting a band or an army or anything in between those two estimations. Anything between a dozen and I don't know, several. How many can you fit inside of a 3-story tall building that's 700 feet long?
a lot.
Right. Presumably, in order to kill it, we're gonna have to go in it and fuck something up.
Yes. Yeah, that's the plan.
Well, this is not going to be fun at all. Just slap all the papers down. A hell of a story, I suppose, but not fun at all.
I don't know who told you it's supposed to be fun.
It hasn't been so far, if I'm being honest, but this is rather an order of magnitude sort of above even 40 knolls.
I mean, I've been having fun, but I'm also a little worried.
That's kind of your role, but yeah. Not the word part. The word part actually has me worried because that's new.
It's new for me too.
Great.
Oh no.
Well, we'll get
Alright.
some new horses. I suppose we can ask for what? Bigger horses? His note's looking real unspecific on what the fastest horse might be, so
Guess it comes out a donkey.
I guess not like a pony.
Falling on a budget.
That should be so funny. Well, you guys,
Are you going back to your place, Emma?
Unless you want to crash somewhere else where you can, fit on the whole bed.
I think I'm gonna sleep down in the bakery. If it's all the same.
Yeah.
It smells nice anyway.
All right. You head back to the Fireforge bakery and home. Is there anything you all wish to do this evening? before
Cry myself to sleep.
before setting off in the morning.
Start figuring out what the fuck rhymes with slug. How
Firm's
many words can I
contemplating.
get that rhymes with slug or sound
Doug.
good? War slug. Doug. Doug.
Honestly, slug is a better rhyme word than worm is.
It
so
is. Yeah,
you
no,
actually got a
dodged a
lucky
bullet.
break.
Dodged a bullet. Like I start with worm, right? Because it's got a bit more of alliteration to it, and then realize it's like, ooh, not a lot for worm. Not a lot
No,
for
it's
worm.
I know it's probably going to be DUG, but I'm really excited to have my name in this box. So now knowing that, you have to put me in it.
Look, this sounds awfully dangerous. No telling who's not coming back. I'd hate to think I passed up my last opportunity to get right and truly hammered. So I'm going out for drinks.
I'll join.
I'm game.
Hell yeah. Is there anything you wish to do while getting drinks, or just get drunk?
Firm's gonna start writing like his obituary and be like, if this happens,
Oh, God.
he's
That's
like,
such
well,
bad luck. You
he's
should
like,
know
what?
better, Marine.
Then he starts contemplating ways he could persuade the god again to bring him back to life.
Yeah, because it worked the first time so well.
It did work so well.
I'm using a combination of the Far Traveler and music to just get this as fucking raucous as fast as possible. Like epicentered around wherever we are, specifically where Cal is, and just letting Cal fucking shine with the spotlight. I just gotta draw. I gotta draw him over, set the scene. Cal will take the rest.
When I get good and hammered, I would like to start challenging people to arm wrestling contests.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Make okay, you win the first two immediately. Right? That
at
was
that
not
point-
Sprains their wrist.
At that point, I will pull Ragnarok aside and explain to them the art of the con.
The hustle.
Yeah, and explain they need to lose some intentionally so we can get some betting going, and then make some money on the.
There's this thing called a shark, and none of us are really quite sure what it is, but
A shock? I've been there.
Are you gonna let someone beat you? At
See, that's
arm
what I'm
wrestling?
thinking. Because, like, I
Did he
understand
roll
where Cal's
persuasion
coming
on you?
from. Maybe. I know it's a good idea. Ragnarok knows it's a good idea, but I don't know if his prime will let him.
You see a hardy dwarven miner sit down, looks at you behind a huge mustache and beard and eyebrows so big you can barely see his eyes, and he just puts this huge arm up onto the table, meaty paw outstretched, and looks at you and says, "Come on now, let's have it."
I'll sit down and I'll wink at Cal.
I'm gonna roll me roll me flat strength, not athletics, just flat strength.
Okay. Not bad, not
Okay.
bad.
The two of you.
I don't know if I win or not, but my wink at Cal was that I will attempt to make it look like a valiant effort, but I'm still trying to win.
You at first you're pushing him towards the table, and then he begins to push your hand back, goes back a little bit further, and then you shove his hand back, and you don't even mean to, but you didn't control your own strength enough. You slam his hand on the table, winning the round.
Okay, well, at least I let him think he had a chance.
Oh, son of a bitch.
And I'll wink again at Cal.
I pay
Yeah, he-
whoever I just lost to 10 gold pieces.
You see the dwarf just grumbles and gets them like, there we go. Pretty good, pretty strong hand.
He just gives him a wide grin. And we don't have to keep doing this. I just want to do it like once.
Yeah, of what it is that you're doing. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah. Your an evening, a raucous or otherwise evening is had. You find yourself stumbling back in to the Fire Forge home later on that evening. If there's nothing else, the morning of the 15th comes. You are directed to a particular stable where they read the letter you have. They kind of look over, see the seal on it, and go, you see the person kind of like eyes widen a bit. Okay, yeah, I can take care of this for you. He leads you to a stable, very large in here, and you see all variety of horses. Horses bred for speed, for field work. He shows each of you a horse that seems large enough and strong enough, appropriate to your size, and tells you these are the fastest ones I have. Given some of you are pretty big, but they'll take care of you. Well trained, they'll follow you. Shouldn't give you too many issues. Just make sure you keep them well fed and well watered.
Will do. Thanks.
The staff gets all the saddle and briding up. You have horses. They provide you with tankards of water. They provide you with feed. I believe you would have left that equipment with your carriage when you came into town here. You all are ready to hit the road.
I would like to imagine that my horse has braided hair just like me.
Sure.
Look, what fantasy is for. Also,
mean-
is Ember telling what is Ember telling her mom?
I was going to get to that, but yeah.
Yeah.
There is zero chance Ember Prime is not telling her mother
Yeah.
about the worm.
The what?
It's all right. We're going to go deal with it.
I got a stick that can translate that if you didn't understand.
Bruh. If we're not back in 5 days, get the miners together, get your stuff, go. Be ready. That's all. Just but you know what? It's gonna be fine. You're gonna hear from me. I'll message you in a few days. The problem will be solved. I just want you to be ready. That's all.
I swear to Morden, if your father isn't dead by the end of this, I'm gonna kill him myself. He should be here right now.
If I find Dad, I will message you beforehand. Before the thing is dead, I mean. Unless I find him after it's dead, in which case I'll message you after it's dead. I'll call. We'll leave.
Plenty of time
I'll,
to trap.
I'll make sure she makes it home, Mom.
She gives you a nod and a smile of like, you better.
Like as everybody's filing out, I will lean down so that like I'm next to her ear and say, "Thank you for lending us your heart."
Nice.
Thank you for keeping it safe.
Yeah, Zal just straightens up like with a smile and doesn't really respond, just walks out.
Put some salt on that, Slug.
Hell yeah.
But
Those are
before
good.
before we all leave, Firm has a realization he needs to go check and see if he can get this death honey real quick.
Yeah, it's on the way to the main gate.
Yeah,
Swinging
gotta,
by.
gotta get that death honey, boy.
Checking on the not vampire. A perfectly normal man.
Perfectly normal in every way that a man is normal.
Not averse to sunlight or running water.
Cool. You check in. They Adela Coombs tells you that he indeed can find a use for what you brought him, though he is unsure exactly what that will entail or become.
Mhm.
He can offer you 300 gold off of the cost of it. The honey of dead fields is what you were looking at, is 1,000 gold, so it'd be 700.
Okay, because I did the math. Oh shit, I just did it wrong. 281 minus 2 is 6. Because I thought I paid him when I gave him the ooze. I took out 500 then, so I'm taking out extra 200 now.
Oh yeah, you definitely did not exchange any money. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now we are. In my inventory I had, however.
Okay.
I don't even want to know what all this fucking honey does, so that when you use it, I'm just not pleasantly surprised, just surprised. Like, oh right, that.
Okay, you hand
Okay.
him the gold.
I'm gonna remove my giant ooze.
Okay, yep, remove the ooze. And then no, that's interesting. It popped into the I probably drug it into the cipher
Yeah.
category, but it's
It-
a consumable. Honey of the dead fields.
I
Yes.
do like the idea of leaving that barrel in our carriage and then leaving and having somebody try to like steal from our carriage. And the only thing there is a fucking barrel of goo.
Ugh. Who are these people?
Like it's fully empty of one barrel of fucking nasty gack.
Ugh. um to consume, right? If you wish to consume it,
Mhm.
it takes a little bit of time to consume. It's not like an action like a potion. You actually have to spend a little time to like eat this fucking jar of honey.
You gotta Pooh Bear it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta
So
get in
not
there.
something you could do in combat, especially considering like the effects last many hours potentially.
That's what I was looking for, was the length of it.
Yeah, those are those are separate rules for it. Rules, honey rules. Okay. When you consume the jar, upon consuming all of it, you gain the benefits, which are listed on the item, and a long-term madness for 1d10 times 10 hours.
1d10 times 10 hours. Okay. Okay, that works.
Okay.
I just stare at Ragnarok. I'm like, this may come in handy.
I'm sure it will.
Okay. Honey achieved.
Sure was.
You begin your journey northward. Um, I will not roll for encounter to get to this place. Is there anything anybody wishes to do on this 3-day journey?
I think like while we are traveling, I'm gonna take a moment to probably like while resting and off the side of the road, sort of speak to Zal and say, "Are you in need of money?"
Broadly or specifically?
I suppose broadly.
Yes, specifically no.
All right. I understand that this has been perhaps a disillusioning set of circumstances for you, and it is the case that we frequently are compensated in some capacity for our, I don't even want to say services, because that would imply again that much of what we're doing is for the purpose of being paid. And if it's fine if that's something that you require, but if we are speaking on behalf of, we are speaking to significant peoples, and the intention that we have with our negotiations is to be of charitable service. I would prefer if it were not necessarily frequently spoken that we are looking to be paid for what we do. I appreciate you perhaps keeping an eye out for everyone, but as a matter of personal requirement, that is, this is something we planned on doing anyway because we thought it was right. It doesn't sit well with me to try to extort money for it. In fact, many of the people that we've helped along the way have not felt comfortable taking money from them.
To be clear, who, uh, if you are accusing me of extorting, who precisely have I?
When we were in conversation with Asker, you made mention of compensation for what we intended to assist
No, I made
Ross with.
mention of resources.
She had offered resources, and
Not
I just
horses and such. I know what resources we require, which are diamonds, for instance, and potions.
see those were things, especially since we'd spent money on them prior. I wanted it to be understood that frequently that sort of thing I'm happy to help us find on our own, but on it, broadly speaking, again, this is more personal.
Were
I
she not a rich woman who is one of the most powerful people in the city, maybe I would not have asked.
My point being, I would personally be appreciative if it were not spoken of that these were demands of the group.
Yeah, Zal just, like, with an eyebrow cocked, is like, very well. Anything else?
I think you're doing well. How are you feeling?
He reaches out and, like, claps you on the shoulder and goes, "Thanks for asking," and goes walking off.
All right.
I would like to take the first short or long rest to change into my jumping state. That's it.
You were jumping form.
Yep.
What does that mean?
So when you jump, you can make a strength athletics check and extend your jump by a number of feet equal to the check's total. You can make this check, special check only once per turn.
Okay, super cool.
I just have a
You-
feeling climbing won't be super important.
Oh man, I mean, I feel like you're gonna be like a grasshopper here. It's
The legs
like-
do actually change shape to be kind of what
To
grasshopper.
bend backwards, like
Yeah,
oh,
they do. Yeah.
it's like
That's so creepy.
anybody seen the movie Arrival?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Ted. Thank you, Ted. Yeah, loved that part of it. Awesome, amazing. Ragnarok, can you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there more Ragnarok going on? I didn't want to jump in the middle.
I just need him
I
to make
apologize.
I need them to make a wisdom check.
Sure.
I'm sorry, not wisdom check, wisdom save.
It's the same. Hey.
Cool, very good. Go on, Cal.
Fam, question for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What is it you plan to do with that honey?
Well, seeing that it gives resistance to necrotic, I thought about trying it for myself. However, I don't really hit people, so I thought about trying to persuade Ragnarok to do it before we start fighting.
Oh, it's
And, if we kill
combat
the
enhancer or something?
let me see here. Double check this. Wrong button. I just read this actually. That's so wild. I have a horrible memory. Not necessarily. If you get a 20 on an attack roll with a melee weapon, you regain equal hit points to half the damage dealt.
Yeah,
So I mean,
very
it
well.
can be
Cal wanders
combat.
off. He hears he hears it has effects on improving people's ability in combat, and Cal's lost interest halfway through the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, Firm does up a finger. But if you can last the whole length of time, you can talk to the dead that recently died.
Been there, done that.
Firm's like, what about the big spider one? You haven't talked to that one, and it can't lie.
Yeah, Cal's no longer engaged in this conversation.
Firm was sitting there like he just thought he said something.
Okay. The journey, uneventful, peaceful. I guess peaceful is the way to say it. Riding north, as each day passes, apprehension builds as to what lies before you. Rising mountains to the left. Ahead of you, you can see the vast forests of the northern lands that separate southern Adari from the cold lands to the northwest and the fiery mountains of the northeast. You are given it's as good a map as can be to a campsite on the edge of the forest here. With all of your many skills combined, you're able to discern your location to theirs and find a very small encampment. You see before you several dwarven folk wearing the Praetor armor but helmet set off. You see 4 of them around this camp that 3 of them remain sitting, and just eating as you run. Let me actually make our days pass forward. 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. You see 3 of them sitting on just log benches that they've made. They've cleared some of the trees nearby. There's a fire spit with looks to be some kind of deer-esque looking beast that is rotating on it. That occasionally they slice off some chunks of meat and put on their plate. 3 of them just remain sitting and eating. One of them stands up to greet your assortment as you arrive in. As they raise their hand in like, hey, greeting, and also just stop there. As your horses slow and come to a stop, you notice that coming out from left, right, and behind you are another 3 praetors that remain hidden on your approach, thus giving a sense of surrounding you. Though they're not 10 feet away, they're roughly 20, 30 feet away, standing near some trees and brush. The one that raises their hand in greeting, they shout out to you, "Hail, who goes there?"
Hi.
Your saviors.
Wow. Okay.
Dramatic. I like it. But no.
I mean, either we're gonna be or we're not. We may as well say we are.
Fair
We
point.
are. We'll die
Okay.
trying.
My name is Ember Prime Fireforge. This is Cal. This is Rainier. This is Firm and Zal and Ragnarok. We've been sent to deal with the slug.
War slug.
You see the ones that are eating kind of stop for a moment and look at each other. The one that raises hand to you kind of shares a glance back with them. All right. Hell yeah. Reinforcements it is. Curious though, I see you ride with the Child of the Mountain, but I don't know any of you. How do you even know that we're here? Who sent you?
He's got a fair point.
I mean, I am the Child of the Mountain, so I don't think he's talking to me. But no, we have been sent by Maras. That is as much as I can say.
He kind of nods and says, well, regardless who sent you, if you're crazy enough to come help with this, we like that kind of crazy here. The name's Lugdush. Come on, we'll get you some food. You see the praetors nearby begin just walking back towards the camp. They just wave you to come, join the camp. Let's see what's going on here. You're able to secure your horses nearby, give them some feed and water. You see they have their own assortment of horses. They give you a few buckets to help kind of get some water around for the horses to take care of themselves. They offer you plates of this meat. They have a stewed wine that one of them is making as well. They've mixed in some bits and bobs here with some wine that they had brought. Not bad overall. Very for camp food, pretty good. You see, Lugdush looks at you all and says, "Well, you're armed and armored. That's good. What kind of skills do you all have?"
I can whip and sweat anything you need.
All right.
How many people are here exactly, like camp wise?
8 total,
Not including us, correct?
not including you.
Oh, okay. Firm's like, well, I can cook hell of meals. And he's like, I said that so wrong.
He can also grease fire large groups of people to death.
Both
Okay,
very
anyways.
useful.
Slightly more germane, perhaps, to the situation.
Both very useful. We've been relying on Ballow's cooking, and he's a shitty chef, aren't you,
It-
Ballow?
It smells better than you think it would, and worse than you think it would.
Firm with that, like hearing that sentence of he's horrible cook, he's gonna go over to where Ballo is and be like, do you mind if I just like look around? He'll start like scanning and seeing if it looks up and adequate.
As Firm walks away, I'm gonna lean into the guy and say, "He's about to ruin his whole life. He's never gonna be the
and
same."
after scanning it, I know this is what we're meeting introductions, but I am going to cast create food and water and just start going to town.
Styling
And
on it.
you see, Ballo is an older dwarf. White hair. It looks like one of his eyes is like he's going blind in one of his eyes. He just has like basic cook pots, right? And like he's like got this little stew thing going on. He's like,
prairie dog stew.
yeah, and like you make this magical meal, and he looks at you and he goes, "Oh, come on, man."
He's got a fucking mean recipe for prairie dog fucking jerky. Just showing up.
He's doing it
Tartar on
easy,
him.
like, okay? I hunted that animal myself, okay? Can you do that there?
Firm's like, yes.
Oh, shit. All right, let's have it. Give us a taste, then.
Yes. Okay. I posted into the Discord the meal that I made.
Yeah. He takes a bit of it. All right, you can cook.
He's like, well, thank you. And then he'll just start cleaning up all of the dishes.
Oh, cleans too. I love him. He can stay.
Well, we might be out of a wandering companion.
Lugdush looks to you and says, okay, bit of magic, bit of cookery. All right, not bad. Looks like some of you have weaponry about you. Range, close up.
I hold up a violin.
We pretty much have all our bases covered.
War drums would be nice if you have any.
I mean, I do not know.
Shame.
Would you prefer a horn?
A horn is nice, yes. Something to let the enemy know we're coming.
Y'all wild.
Bold move. I like it.
Before we settle in to have a meal, let's start with what is your plan?
Well, if you're sent as reinforcements to help us with the slug, our plan, initially, before your arrival, was all-out assault. We'd have several attempt to make entryway on different locations on the outside of the slug, and then others would attempt to make a foray into the mouth. But with all you here, that changes things. How would you all like to be the Alpha Strike Team?
Does that involve going into the mouth or into the side?
Right into the mouth. Glory to be had.
I don't love it.
Ragnarok's ears perk.
No, he loves
Question:
it. But
What about the spider? What does the spider have? Is the spider in control of the worm? If we take out the spider, will that make the worm situation better?
Oh, you mean Adrazar? Yeah, I'd say he's in control, though how or why or what we don't know. The others listen to him, for certain. I would imagine he's either commanding this worm or maybe he's just riding it, seeing where it wants to go.
There's only the one of his kind.
Oh, no. There's several, but he's the biggest one. He's also the only thing we've been able to determine. His name, Aldrazar. These things, they speak a strange language, but that name is repeated every time he arrives, so that's what we call him. Now I figure, you all, with all your cookery and violins and weaponry, you rush through the front. We will attempt to make inroads to the sides, breaking through different locations, causing chaos before your arrival. As you make your way through, we'll reconvene in the center and near the front.
Yeah, you expounding on that puts a lot more faith actually in that plan.
Hmm.
That sounds better than what it sounded like, which was you just throw us into its mouth.
I mean, we all gonna have to get eaten though, right? Like that's
Yeah, how does this
Yeah.
thing work?
So to speak, but the slug doesn't consume the people that walk through it. The only time I've ever seen it consume anything is when there's no one coming in or out. Every now and then it kind of dips its maw into the earth and gathers what's in front of it rock, tree, dirt, don't matter. Now, if you're in the way during that, you're likely ending up somewhere you don't want to be, and I don't think you're coming out the other side of it.
is its mouth always open?
Mostly. Occasionally it shuts, but mostly it does keep it open.
Now, you ever had any Arcanists come in, I don't know, disguise, try to communicate, telepath, or whatnot with anyone within the slug?
You mean, do they have arcanists?
Well, do you? Or has there been any attempt in that capacity for a non-aggressive confrontation?
Oh, I see. Well, none of us are, magically inclined, if that's what you mean. No grease fires from us. But, the initial contact with the slug was it destroying an entire mining camp of ours, so we don't think they like talking much.
But it hasn't been done yet.
Not exactly, though we have sent folk in, and they haven't come out. I don't think their negotiations went well, and I'd like to kill everyone inside there because of him.
Oh, okay. That's a solution.
Is that stating that non-aggressive confrontation is off the table?
Look, if you go in there and you're able to talk a spider down, then you're welcome to. But if we go in, blood is shedding. That's for certain.
Oh, y'all different.
These things are monstrosities. They may look elven, but they don't act like the elves that we know. They're vicious. Besides, who trucks with spiderlings?
No, well, I mean that's a fair point, but can't imagine that the history of other racial relations didn't start out too smooth to begin with. I don't know
Uh,
much about how dwarves and elves first started interacting, but I'm sure that the culture clash was pretty sickening to the first to start.
Well, I'm no historian, so I can't rightly say. Besides, can't understand a damn thing they're saying, so ain't no real use in talking.
Yeah, the first time we bumped into these things, they just started killing us.
Oh, there you go.
So,
I'm not denying that, but Amber Prime, didn't you say that you saw it was a bit of an invasion of territory?
it was mining. that was met with murder.
All right.
There was no
Am I
talk.
missing?
There
Am I
was
missing?
no anything. It was, whoops, we broke into your tunnel. Oops, you rampaged and drove us out of our home.
Now I'm trying to be sympathetic, but am I missing a part where there was an awareness of each other beforehand, and it wouldn't have would it not have just been tunneling into territory that would have been the home of a different people?
Yes,
I'm
there
trying to
was no
understand.
awareness. Yes, we tunneled into potentially part of their home by accident because there was no awareness. The accident was not met with conversation. The accident was met with murder. The accident was met with rampaging well beyond their territory into our city. What's the word I'm looking for here? Disproportionate response. There was no death. There was no fighting by the dwarves when we ended up in their tunnels. That was purely an accident.
Wait, are you saying that these things are in Maras right now?
Well, technically, no. They're under Maras. Potentially. This is a vision of Kirathun. I don't really have time or anything to go through it all. Just it's
Sounds crazy.
it's pretty
That's what it
wild.
sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds crazy.
Pretty wild. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you are right about one thing. We do not have time. We were finishing up our last meal here and about to make our approach in a few hours. How do you all feel about getting inside a big war slug?
Well, it's certainly unorthodox, but it sounds fun.
Yeah, might as well.
Hell yeah. And if we all live through this, I mean, this is a story of legends.
Could I get the names of all of you? Just write them down on a piece of paper or something.
Including the 4 you've lost, please.
Yeah, he gives you all the names of the 8 here, as well as the 4 they lost. Your father, his name is spoken.
The inside.
Fireforge? Oh,
Yeah, sorry,
shit.
did it not click when I said?
Yeah, I honestly did not think about that. Look, we don't know what their status is inside, technically.
I will cast sending. I don't even answer this, man. I just cast sending. Hey, Dad, you alive in the giant slug? If you answer me, that means yes. You better answer me or I'm coming in there. Love you, please be safe.
You hear a response back. How the fuck do you know about the slug? Are you with
I just
Lug?
sit down. Just okay.
All
right. He's alive. Okay.
I told you
God.
specifically not to follow me. I am shoved in the fleshy walls of this thing. I've been here for 2 days, pissing in my suit.
Okay. Oh. She's like got her head between her legs, just like breathing heavy. Like, okay, he's alive. Okay,
He's alive.
yeah.
God
He didn't say
damn.
anything about the others, but he's alive. He's trapped in the walls of the slug thing. Oh god,
That's disgusting.
yeah,
In through your
pretty
nose,
gross.
out through your mouth.
And I don't have to.
Hey, I don't mean to keep hitting this one, and I know it's sensitive, but given that we have future concerns, and he'll point towards the sky,
Mark that spell slot off.
are
Sorry.
we sure that we want to approach with intended aggression immediately?
Hey, might as well.
Because if it is possible to make allies of these people, they would be very helpful when, and his finger circles the sky again, we have other matters that will impact all of Adari.
I'm pretty sure they're trying to impact all of Adari at the moment.
Okay,
Just
all right, hold
slowly.
up. Hold up. I am going to agree that frontal violence at this point may not be our best policy, not for the same reasons, but because if they've got my dad and potentially the other three alive, then if we launch a full frontal assault offensive, that's the word I'm looking for, thank you. They might just kill those people.
Mhm.
So we may need to sneak our way in.
I suppose you could try that, but did your dad say he was captured?
He said he's stuck in the walls. He didn't say anything about captured.
Those sound like two different things.
But nobody's been inside and able to come out and make a report on what it is like inside, right?
I
Correct.
can find out more information 25 words at a time. So like
Well,
50 more words. But that's
But
not
then we're gonna have to rest, right? Because then you're gonna run out of magic.
I'm not gonna run out, but yeah, that's gonna be a serious.
If we're going into the belly of a worm,
yeah, it's like I was getting there.
Slug.
It's a serious
Slug.
so
You'll know when you see it.
Okay.
is it dripping?
Oh yeah, it's dripping.
I don't know why you said it like that.
That was absolutely necessary. Thank you.
Wait, okay. Me as a player is really confused. Did you describe this as like a real life giant ass slug or a mechanical type slug?
As far as it's been described, it is a large 900-foot long, several story
Floating.
tall slug that
Floating,
floats question mark on the ground.
floating with a form of plating on its exterior that makes it hard to get through.
Okay,
But it
maybe
has
that's where I got
reach
the
points.
mechanical point. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they believe like though the outside is well armored, it is not impervious. That it is possible to with effort breach the side walls and make entry. Though the most direct route is the mouth.
What if we just blow up its brain?
Do you have a spell for that?
Fireball.
Okay.
From the inside out, it can't stop it.
If it doesn't have a heart, why would it have a brain?
I mean, we don't know it doesn't have either of those because we haven't been inside.
Could have several
Several what?
brains. Parts.
It can just keep going. Oh, I don't have that many grease balls.
Well, I mean, look, honestly, we're a few hours out from it, so if you want to see it for certain, know what it is that you are really looking at, we're about to head out soon.
Yeah, that sounds like the way better idea. At least we can each get a visual and then redevise a plan from there.
Yeah, when were you planning on launching this assault?
Oh,
'Cause we've
today.
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 We've been traveling for a while.
Yeah, it looks it.
He's not wasting no time.
I assume you're not gonna budge on that today estimate.
Well, there's always tomorrow. Then it's closer, and that's a problem. So you arrived. I mean, look, you are our reinforcements. All right, our chances of success have risen dramatically now.
Yeah, tomorrow would work better. Tomorrow would work a lot better.
On the attack, but not the scouting.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look at it tonight, but that I'm gonna need some time to fine tune my the investments of Moradin and my abilities.
Holy repertoire.
Oh, yeah, you and the magic girls. Yeah, okay. Hey, I mean, you had days
Damn
to
right I
travel.
am.
You didn't do it on the way here?
Well,
Oh
I
my
did some, but I
God.
haven't seen the damn thing yet.
Oh, okay. I mean, you were sent here. I just seemed all right. Well, okay, boys. Tomorrow we assault the Slug.
I
Today
legitimately
we're gonna
love
just
this
look
guy.
at it a little bit.
I legitimately love this guy. Holy shit.
Herm looks at
Yeah,
Ember like,
We're
what is
all so cool with just like chasing this one in. We're just fine with this. Just running in,
at
guns
this?
a blazing.
I'm ready.
I just
Yeah,
I just argued against going in guns a-blazing.
I
So
also don't think we're gonna successfully do any other option.
I feel like
we
even-
don't
we
do
can
it.
try.
I
even
guess
if
the
we
only
decided to sneak, they are not. Okay, I do not have faith that all of them are
We-
going to sneak.
yeah, they're not.
It's-
These boys aren't sneaking. They're
Tho-
going.
Okay,
those boys don't need to
Yeah,
sneak. That's
their
the-
plan.
that's-
Their current plan is they're gonna blow holes with their armor in the side of in different spaces along the slug. Kill everything they see until they die, or keep going until they meet up with you. That's their current plan.
That's
Yeah,
that is a
And-
terrible plan. Now that you
and-
put it in simple
Yes,
terms.
yeah, that's what I'm fucking saying. Not only that, but one of the primary like conflict points has been not an inability to communicate. We have a fucking cipher that will fix that for us.
we got a stick.
Like,
Well,
like, stick.
also-
This is stick. Like,
I
I don't know that
get
this.
all the logic in this, right? The logic is there in everybody else's plans, but you're skipping the fact that we have a group of basically war predators who are just running and gunning.
Oh, they're more
And
like
once
space
we
marines.
get in, basically, right? So once we get there, even if we decide to try to sneak into the mouth after they start screaming and hitting, I'm pretty sure it might go on lockdown for a second, and we won't be able to get in. So we might have to just conform to them because I don't really see them budging like that. Not on the attack.
Plus, like, they potentially have prisoners. Like,
yeah, that's the thing that I think will give these other predators pause is, hey, you want your friends back? Your plan's gonna get them killed. Don't do that.
I think the core issue is if we try to do this diplomatically and then fuck it up, which is it might just be what happens because they're like, we have the worm. What do you or the slug. What do you have?
There's also another point to this. There was one who apparently already did die. They saw him come back out wounded, and they ran out and grabbed him.
they said they ran out and grabbed him and dragged him back.
Oh,
There's no confirmation of any deaths so far.
it's a language, but I will say if we choose to go the diplomatic route, we kind of forfeit the tactical use of the war boys as they would prefer.
Well, that's
to
not
work.
entirely
That's
true.
that's not true because we
How
can
you
have
gonna-
them with us. Like,
So we
Oh, no, I
wow,
just
that's
meant we
worse.
can-
not
I
5
just
feet
meant
away, not
if the
5 feet away.
conversation goes bad, we
Oh.
can contact them and be like, all right, boys, time to go.
Yeah, having them with us feels worse. Feels
so we also then, as a group, we probably should not all pull up together. That also may be a slight small
I
force.
think the 6 of us, right? 6 of us. How many people have been playing this game for like a year and a half? The 6 of us should definitely be the negotiating. No, what's the
What
term
if
I'm
we
looking
said
for?
3 of
Hostage
us?
negotiators.
We send 3 of us, not the extremely heavily armored ones, because the description we have gotten recently is we can match a Praetor in like armament, and that might be pretty intimidating.
I can
I'm-
stay
I'm-
back because I got plenty of space.
I'm confused. Are we talking about engaging in hostage negotiations with this thing?
I'm referring to us as the hostage negotiation team to separate us purely to separate us
From the
from
war boy.
from the dude boy the dude bro praetors.
Gotcha.
Whose plan is essentially
The fucking
coordinated suicide.
the frat boy space marines.
I do legitimately love these dudes and their ridiculous plan.
I'm here for them spiritually, honestly I am, but it's also like I don't want them to die, hence my hesitation.
That feels like a
to
good
follow
way for
through
us
on
all
them.
to die, not
Yeah.
just them.
All right, they are mounting up to ride to go look at the thing.
To reconnoiter, which is
Yeah.
really what I'm looking for first.
Yeah, they are all mounting up to go reconnoiter. Do you all wish to accompany them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the ride there, can we have like a quick breakdown of hostage negotiation, frat boy go time, or
I'm not making a plan. I have no idea what the plan would be until I see what this thing is doing and how it operates, because I frankly just don't know.
And there's not an insignificant chance that this is actually ancient arcana, and us looking at it might give us something.
Mm-hmm.
Firm is really sticking with you. This is gonna turn up to be a frat boy go time.
You ride for several hours, taking a break for food and drink along the way, then continuing onward. It becomes a late afternoon, best guess by the sun, maybe 4 to 5 ish in the afternoon. And the Praetors, you can hear a rumbling and feel the ground shaking. They lash the horses and then motion to maneuver through the trees. As large as they are in their armor, their helmets are secured, faces completely obscured by the armaments. Their movement is smooth, swift, agile. They do make noise. Their approach is harder to hide due to the sheer density of what it is that they're wearing, but you would figure wearing something like what they are wearing would weigh them down and slow them, but that does not seem to be the case. And you can see the lines of it's very clear there is like magical energy running through this armor. You make your approach, and you can hear the cracking of trees just felling one after another. It is a cacophonous noise. And you see all players. Okay. You see the war slug as it is. Can you all see this handout
What
on the screen?
actual
Sure
fuck is that?
fucking can.
Yeah.
I love the
That's not a
name that you
slug.
have to the left. This cannot be.
This
I don't-
cannot be.
That
I-
just feels fitting.
I would just like to quickly check in with everyone. Did anyone eat the honey? Is this a byproduct of eating the honey? Have we made a
honey-
horrible mistake, or is this
honey,
actually?
This is it. This is it.
I think it only very loosely fits the definition of a slug.
You
Has to.
see this enormous creature. It's as obvious as a dragon in the sky. It cannot be missed. Deep purpling colorations. The length of it, again, just goes on and on and on as you all have like a sideways view of this thing. Their estimate of 900 feet, maybe it's even more. It's covered in these silvery veins, dotted with faint glowing lights, and these fat spikes on its back, reaching up. You figure maybe even 100 feet tall into the sky. It doesn't appear to have anything like a face, but there is a front end with a large, low opening and these two feathery structures kind of sweeping upward like horns. Um, Near the ground, as the body flattens out into this rubbery skirt, you can see why they thought it might be hovering, because it appears to be like above the ground, but this close in you can see as it ripples there are just thousands and thousands of wagon-sized flexible tubular feet that kind of skim the surface. It looks like it barely touches the ground with all these little tiny feet. Besides the size of it, the sound that you're hearing is the destruction of what's in front of it being just demolished, but its movement itself is silent. It is not making a noise while moving, though you can feel the vibrations of the size of this creature. Everything seems to undulate and shift and move like a rubbery, spongy like material. You see along its body length, occasionally there are spots that look like, best guess, on like an animal, right? Like scars or injuries, like old injuries, things that like the way like a whale has scars of its previous battles and survival encounters, right? That kind of thing. You swear there's markings of like this thing has been attacked in the past by what you're not sure. Could be fireballs, grease fires, who knows? But this thing is just absolutely massive, and its movement, while silent, is also fairly swift for its size. You figure if it can crack everything in front of it, and it's just heading towards the morass, yeah, there's only a few days before this thing just gets there, and there's no wall. Like, the walls of Bastion could not keep this.
Well, I
Hmm.
feel less good about the full frontal assault.
Oh, you also notice, like, as it's passing, in the distance where its tail end is, it leaves behind a viscous, slimy goo behind it.
Being that it's this, I don't even, I'll say atrocity. Yeah, atrocity of a monster. Does Firm recognize this thing?
No.
What the
I
fuck?
mean, it is a long shot, but like, is there any shot for any of discernment from the outside, ancient
No.
arcana
Yeah,
or
yeah.
otherwise?
None of you have seen
Uh-huh.
anything or heard about anything like this. This is part of why, like, you like, as apprehension kind of fills the space, even the Praetors, you can sense tension from them. It's just like, this thing just shouldn't be.
Right. So we're definitely rethinking that plan, guys.
Are the
Yeah.
players with us?
Yeah, they let us here.
Okay.
We do have one last Firm like brings up. We have one last person we might be able to ask if we're able to. She may have some information.
If you're talking about Umeli, I doubt it.
She's also in a soundproof box.
Yeah, that's
Magic proof box.
weeks away at best.
Yeah.
And even if we use the key, we have to get back here.
Yeah. I was
So-
gonna say you could send a message their way.
Yeah, I can't sense her. I don't think sending to her would get through.
Yeah, I could send to
Ba-
Baracus and then
yeah.
have Baracus get her out of the box, but that's a lot of magical power, and frankly, I don't think it gets us anything.
She's a beauty, isn't she?
I'm
Um,
sorry, you were gonna take this on by
Yeah,
yourself.
Purpose is like, you've been talking about this thing, right? This ginormous of a beast.
Yeah, the war slug. Yeah.
Does-
and we're
does
not
it
by
ever-
ourselves. There's 8 of us. And now
Oh.
there's
Mm-hmm.
what's 8 plus
we're
7?
here with you.
Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself.
And now you're here.
Quick math.
Okay. Question. Does it ever stop moving?
Oh, no, I mean, maybe.
I think maybe
Some great recon, guys.
Well, I've never seen it stop moving, so how am I supposed to answer that question?
Okay, that does answer my question. You have not seen it stop moving. Got it. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Cal
God.
is going to
I'm crying.
bring Kieran Jr. Out from their liminal space and
Mm-hmm.
immediately cast invisibility on KJ. And then we'll just say, look, I really do hate to ask, but we need more information. Fly as close as you can and stay safe, but focus primarily on the entrance proper at the front and anything else you see that might allow us to gain entrance. And I will either hold on to my horse, or if I'm on a horse with someone else, I will hold on to someone else as I look through KJ's eyes.
Yeah, you guys are actually on foot.
Okay. Then
to,
whoever's
like,
closest, I'll just grab hold of them.
Yeah. The horses were tied up just to kind of hide the approach a little bit.
Gotcha.
Cool. Yeah, you send Kieran in.
I will.
Kieran
give-
gives you that telepathic response of like, okay.
I'm gonna give
Sure.
both bardic inspiration real quick. I'll say just to the air like, "Good luck, little guy," and then pat you on the shoulder. Try to look your best.
Mhm.
That was nothing.
Okay.
How far away are we exactly from this thing?
I mean, feet, like a few hundred feet.
Yep. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. It's just like clearing.
That
through
feels
the
way too
forest.
close
Yeah,
with the
it's not-
scope
it's
that
not
we're
good.
dealing with.
It even at this distance, like 100 feet or so, like it's just like no. It's being too close to Godzilla, right? You fly, Kieran. They see the same thing, right? It's undulating surface, the large horns that sweep up and out into the sky, the ones near the mouth as well. As Kieran approaches, you see the mouth dip down and just gouge a trough in the ground. You see literal boulders are being broken and lifted out up into the mouth of it. The mouth closes, opens. There's nothing left, nothing remaining. Bits are like falling out of the sides of its mouth, things that didn't go in all the way. Kieran flies. They fly in around the front of it. It makes no notice of Kieran. There's no reaction of any kind. Looking through Kieran's eyes, you don't see anything or anyone in the front of the mouth. The mouth is open.
This still seems so sketch.
And Kieran doesn't see any other obvious points of entry other than the.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
this thing,
Mhm.
the only point of entry is the mouth, aside from attempting to breach through the surface. Which, that, like seeing that and noting that, Lugdush's plan makes sense in a way, right? Of like, there's only a few ways in and out of this thing, right? I mean, there's only one way in and out. So either you have to make you either make an entrance or use the entrance.
I know I'm probably too far to communicate with Karen, so whenever it flies back, I will suggest that KJ fly back out and take a look up at the top, see if there's a place up there where we might be able to gather, or is there a softer place up there? Is it harder up there?
They look around. The entire outer surface seems the same all the way around, right? It like imagine the picture of it. It's kind of the same all over. There are no other orifices or blowholes or openings. There's no wounds or anything like that on it.
And in all of this scouting, did we see anybody else? Did we see this half spider, half drow?
I was going to say that as they're on the like looking over the top of it, they do see a few figures on the top, just like walking along the top of it. Roughly about half a dozen or so from what they saw, spread out among like the length of it. It doesn't appear to be super easy for them to traverse, but it's not. The structure of the slug's body is not that you would fall off were you to walk on it, right? It is traversable, but you're still on a big creature and moving about its little weird nodules and whatnot.
All right. Whenever KJ gets back, I will have been sort of whispering that narration as it occurred. And very well done, KJ. Very well done. Come, nuzzle close. Oh, yes, there are no good options, it seems. So, in through the front, I say.
Tomorrow, right?
I mean, we came all this way.
Yep, we sure did.
Tomorrow.
That just means we should make sure we're having the best chance of success to save Maras.
I mean, if we're sort of the last line of defense, then if we don't get it done, it doesn't really matter how close it is, does it?
Yeah, I suppose not. It's a shame, though.
So, as far as getting into the side of it, how is it you were gonna do it exactly?
Well,
Love to hear this one.
you know,
You're just
we were
smack
gonna
it with a
cut, slice, punch, blast our way through.
Are you just gonna hit it?
I mean, any which way you can, right?
Has that worked before?
Well, we haven't. Well, okay, the first time we tried it is when we know it could be done, but not easily.
Did the beast, respond to any of your hits, or just keep it pushing?
I mean, that thing's so big, and I don't know. We're like mosquitoes to it.
Okay.
That's what I'm figuring, anyway.
Run that by me again. You praetors feel like you're mosquitoes to this thing, and you feel confident that you and us is enough to take it down.
I mean, there's only one way to find out.
Firm's like, yep, you heard him right.
Look, if it ain't us, Who is it?
I feel like maybe this is a one thing at a time situation. First things first is to either negotiate and or kill everything inside. Then we can decide what to do about the wall slug.
You know,
It's more like a fortress slug. I
How
mean,
many spell slots do I have left here?
it's a
I'll be honest. What I really think this is a settlement and traveling.
fortress slug. City slug is pretty good, I'll say.
So it's
I say it out
That
loud.
that
so it's your intention to engage in diplomatic negotiations with it.
on behalf of who?
I will cast Sending. Hey, Dad, I need to know if you were captured or if you just got stuck. Are the other Praetors alive? Has anyone tried to talk to you?
I'm not captured, and I'm not stuck. I'm hiding. As
How
to the
far?
others,
Oh, my bad.
I know 2 are dead. I don't know about the other. I assume so. I've been biding my time, hoping Lugdush would finally assault this thing.
uh, Ember, how many more spell slots you got?
I got 2 more I can do of that.
Can you
I'm
add-
passing everything that I've heard on.
Oh.
See, they're not hostages, so negotiations off the table.
That's not what that means, but
It's just negotiations of sort of please don't do this. And then if they do it, then the negotiation has failed.
it does
So,
mean that a couple
quick-
of your friends are inside and are dead.
Quick
Can
question:
you find out?
Uh-huh.
with
Yeah, Cal.
with whom do you intend to negotiate?
Oh God.
The spider. I
Oh my gosh.
presume the leader. Azazel.
Spider is in charge. I'm not making any statements of intention right now. But I was just
I'd like to just consider that if it is considered ludicrous to attempt negotiations, I'm going to then vocalize it is ludicrous to attempt to just walk in and kill everything inside of this.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with that because it feels like there's probably hundreds of people inside, but we will. I will. I will cast Sending.
Wait, Ember, before
Yeah,
you do,
yeah, firm. Yeah.
Can you find out how far he possibly is inside? How far does he think he went?
30 feet.
The good thing we know is that's not a demiplane in there, so that is limited space.
Yes.
It's only as big as this giant fucking
That's this
slug.
giant fucking war slug.
Like trying to find him in a flesh city.
Well, he went in the mouth,
It's that.
but if he knew to hide,
It's more like a shopping mall. If we're talking 1,000 feet, you're talking about the size of a shopping mall.
But it's like 100 feet tall.
A 10-story shopping mall.
That is just a city. That's just you just described like a village, like a small village.
Just, yeah.
It's
I've
maybe
de-
not a
I have
it's not a city,
described-
it's a town. You've described a town.
I have described a couple apartment buildings. I have not described a town. A town
Oh,
is
no.
way more than 1,000 feet long.
That's true, but
I think we're still again arguing that this thing is too
It's
big.
a completely
just-
semantic argument.
we're not
You're
gonna
still talking
kill-
about thousands of people in that.
we're
thing.
not gonna kill it. At best, we're gonna kill the spider so that it maybe goes on a mad idiot wander some other direction that isn't towards
well,
the city.
I would argue the point that we could potentially kill the creature from the inside. That would just leave the army on foot.
Well, yeah,
So
which
there
is
still would
better.
be an army which we would almost certainly not get away from, but
True,
that's
but
better
that's
than
better for the
having-
world. Yeah,
it's better for the world than a fucking 10-story giant slug who gives a fuck about your walls creature just sliming its way right down the world. Oh my god.
Do you think you might be able to find out how far he is inside?
I
If you
can
know.
try.
What is our
If he
footing-
knows and if he'll tell me.
What is our footing for negotiation here? What's our in? What's our pitch? Like, hey, don't.
It
do
doesn't
this.
even have to be that. It can literally be, hey, what are you doing?
Just
We
walk up
don't
to it
know
And then when they
you.
say, "Well, we're gonna take over the city over there," we
Well,
go,
okay, that's
"Well,
we don't know. That's an if. That's an if. We don't know shit.
Yeah.
They could have been thrown out of whatever they're like. They could be out here for basically the same reason that dwarves are in Morass. That something below them said, "Get the fuck out of my house," and pushed them out. Like,
And what gave them the giant fucking city slug to take with them?
we could ask them. Oh
I'm
my
being
god.
The problem
gonna
is
be
once you
honest.
negotiate, you're just when the negotiation fails, you're unequivocally in a worse spot. Than
I'm
you
gonna
would
be
have
honest.
been.
I don't feel like
Good spot.
I don't feel
No,
like they are
It's a
here.
good, it's a bad
negotiation.
spot versus an even worse spot. Whereas now you're in the middle of as many of them as they could fit in an auditorium, pointing
my
weapons at
God.
you.
I
Oh my
don't feel like
God.
they're here for negotiations. They did destroy out a whole outpost.
They did destroy an outpost.
Again,
Doesn't-
we're coming
had
in with the
people.
one tool that no one has had yet, which is the ability to communicate with them.
I think we could grab one of them and interrogate them, and that would be better than a negotiation.
That's
all told.
that's possible, but like, oh my god. Oh.
I mean,
Man,
Also,
I
the
hear
you're
city
you.
only
crazy. You're absolutely crazy. I've never seen anyone try to talk to an Ettercap before. I mean, that's just madness. Madness.
Wait, hold on, what?
Oh, what?
You're talking about trying to talk to Ettercaps and spider folk and dark elves. It's insanity, really.
What is an Ettercap?
Oh God.
An
Okay,
Ettercap.
okay. No, I thought you meant that the thing on top
All right.
that was leading
Can
this
we-
thing was the Ettercap.
Can we go back-
that's worse. He's something far worse. Absolutely. Yeah,
So
no,
the
Ettercap is
somehow the knowledge that it's worse is actually reassuring. It's weird transpositional logic, but
Can we go back to the camp? I really hate where we currently are and are standing, and the fact that if we can see it, it feels like something on it could maybe see us.
Let's see what we find out first.
What do you mean? What we find? We are.
okay.
Are you gonna teleport in and then teleport out?
I think he means for me to talk to my dad again, who is inside the creature.
Yes,
Which we can do from the camp.
Yeah, I can do that from literally anywhere on this world.
You're gonna tell him to bang on the wall, and maybe we'll
Look,
hear.
okay. Firm is like, look, okay, I get it. It's a death trap. We all might die. But if her dad is like 100 feet
Squish the
within,
wall so we can see where you are.
if her dad is
Yeah,
like
let's
100
not-
feet in and he could tell us where he's at, I was gonna ask if we could take Ragnarok, grab him, teleport in, come back out with the dad with your dimension door, and then run for our lives.
Who is we?
I was gonna teleport Ragnarok in, use dimension door to get us out.
Does anyone else notice he volunteers me a lot?
You're the
Right.
fastest one here.
You have literally, at every opportunity, expressed your explicit interest in violence and aggression.
It
That's
is
not
your.
violence. That's running
sort of
away. That's
podcast.
very different.
Might I point out that Ember's father is hiding in there voluntarily, waiting for an attack. I don't think he'd take it very kindly if we tried to teleport him out.
That's why I want her to find out.
And we have this conversation as we are walking. Is that a thing that we could do? It is.
But what if he doesn't want to sit there and he just is stuck? He doesn't want to
doesn't
fight.
get to
us
make
He
that
was
choice.
lying.
What are you?
I'm saying,
If
what if
he
he doesn't
says he
wanna
wants
fight?
us to go now, and we said no, I don't know.
We could
What's
just let
his
him know.
bargaining
We
position?
could look. We could let him know. We could try to get him out, or tomorrow we launch an attack and see what he wants. Maybe he
If
just
he-
doesn't want to fight his own way out.
In a suit in the wall, I think he's sort of
He's hiding. He's not necessarily in the wall. Okay, let's all
He's
just take a
also-
breath.
while we're
We
walking.
could ask him. We could literally.
I'm going to do that, Firm. This is my
All right.
dad that I'm making sure is
Just
safe.
so that I feel better.
It's her dad, okay? It's her dad.
Everyone, take a breath.
I'm just gonna
If you
kneel
want to go
down.
for if you want to go to the camp, it's all go on.
I'm just gonna kneel so I present a less visible profile.
Oh, that's a good idea. You want to get
Crouch
real
down.
low.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe just lay on the ground.
Yeah, all the way down. That's for
Right.
sure.
Don't say
Okay.
it like that.
Last third level spell slot. So we're definitely not going in today at full strength if we have to go in.
Oh my god.
I love the fact that your dad's definitely going to be like, you need to come in and you need to come in right now, Ember.
Honestly, I will be surprised if that's the answer, because the answer will almost certainly be you need to tell those Praetor idiots to get in here. You need to go home.
Oh, that was close.
Just want to help him.
Okay, Dad, are you safe?
That's it?
No, I'm rationing my words here.
Okay.
Will you be safe through the night, or can you get out? We're trying to figure a plan that isn't suicidal. What have you seen in there? What can you tell me?
Okay. He says to you, I'm safe for now. I don't know where I am. I've managed to sneak past several of the guard before I found myself caught in a room. I can't get out easily. What were your other questions?
I think the last bit was just like what's going on in there, basically. Like, what have you seen?
Yeah. Tell Lugdush there's not as many in here as we thought.
So that was the answer. Not as many as we thought in there. Well, we being you Praetors. Can't get out, but is safe for now.
Okay, that's good. All right. Your dad's alive. All right. You know,
Potentially one more.
maybe one more. But
Yep.
hopefully.
Yep.
Now, let's get to camp. Well, we should get to camp and then move camp south, because that thing will be on us in the night probably. So we head south a bit, get some shut-eye, and then first thing in the morning we cut some slug fricassee style.
Mm,
I like at least the first part of that plan, where we go camp and get rest, and I pray to Moradin and all the gods that we figure out the best way to do this.
He walks up to you, puts a heavy gauntleted hand onto your shouldered armor, armored shoulder, and says, "You're the child of the mountain. Goddamn right, Morden blesses us."
Okay.
Let's get to camp. You're cooking, boy.
Well, that's fine. Okay.
You all head south to their camp. Based on the slug's movement and speed, Blooddush is correct. You will need to move the camp south, or it will be upon you in the night. A few hours spent moving south, getting to a safer location. Anything anybody needs to do before the evening and session comes to an end?
I will use my 1/4 level spell slot to cast Sending and just say, "Hey, Mom, Dad's alive. Bring him home as soon as I can." That's it.
Yep.
I know you will. Okay. Everybody can take their long rest, and next session we will start in the morning. I will have before we finish session. Cal, can you make a wisdom saving throw?
History says no, but let's find out.
Nice.
15. Okay, very good. You have slight disruption in your dreams. There's a weird part of your dream that
Karen Jr., no.
a weird part of your dream where you're walking through these darkened tunnels just holding a small candle, and you can hear yourself speaking out loud, but it's not your voice, it's a different voice, feminine. Left, left, right, left, end of the corridor, right. And you see, as this person makes the final right, they are peering around a wall, looking down a hallway. And at the end of this hallway, you can see they like grab their candle and snuff it out for a moment. At the end of this hallway, they see what looks like two people in like a kind of light armor, chainmail, swords. They have spears on, but the spears are just leaning against the walls. The two of them look like guards of some kind. Seem to be like in kind of casual conversation. And there's just this door behind them that has these chains crossed against it, and these very softly glowing magic runes. You see, you can hear the like heavy breathing of this person. Sounded. But now what? I can't do that. how am I supposed to? You see one of the guards like turns kind of in their direction as if they heard something. You see the vision of the person like swiftly move around as if they're hiding. They're breathing heavy. And then they begin walking deeper down the hallways, following back the path that they had come. Muttering under their breath one more time before the dream fades back into whatever it is that you were dreaming about. Or just show me where. Just show me where it is.
And that's the dream?
That's the pieces of the dream that like you will remember come the morning.
Right. Is there anything about the corridors that looks familiar or rings a bell to me? And is there anything about this feminine voice that rings a bell?
The voice, no.
Mhm.
The corridors feel familiar. It's that dream state, it's a little wobbly, woozy, but
Mhm.
yeah, it actually feels familiar to you. Like you've walked those same exact halls.
Hmm. Is there anything that I can do to try and zero in on um where that location is, or is the best I can do right now is just that foggy, like, man, that really rings a bell sort of feeling?
Um, yeah, make a you can make uh an intelligence check with advantage.
Okay.
As this is like your memory here.
Nailed
Okay. It's familiar.
Mhm.
It's so familiar. It's on the tip of your tongue, but you're just not able to place it as everything is as like the dream is fading.
Right.
Well, there's something about it.
Mhm. Right.
Cool. That's our session. Every next week, at dawn we plan, I suppose.
We're all gonna die.
At dawn, we panic. After breakfast, we plan.
one stage of
Order of operation.
anxiety at a time.
First, you wake up and get an anxious puke out. Then you eat, and then you plan.
Yeah. Ember, you found your dad.
Sort of.
You found your
Yeah.
dad.